How much does it cost to fly private? In this video, I'm going to go over how you book a charter flight and how much you can expect to pay for one. Hello everyone and welcome to the Pilot Pots channel. My name is Michael. I am a professional pilot. I have been flying for a charter company for about 7 years now. And today we're going to walk through one of the questions that I get asked all the time, which is how much does it cost? Now, as the pilot just sitting in the front, I really don't know all the behind the scenes details that go on. I leave that to our charter department and our accounting department. All I know is that it does cost a good amount of money, but there are some really good reasons that people fly corporate. In another video, I'll break down why people fly corporate and hopefully shed some light on how it can actually make financial sense to do that. But for this video, we're gonna stick to the basics of just how much does it cost. Now, before we get into how much does it cost to fly private, one thing that I can tell you is absolutely free is you hitting the subscribe button right now, turn on the notification bell, and hit the like button. I promise you it's free. You don't have to pay anything. It is so much cheaper than flying private. So if you could, right now, hit that like button, help the YouTube algorithm out, hit the subscribe, help this channel grow. I would really appreciate it. To get started, I'm gonna go over the two primary ways that people use to book a charter airplane. The first way is going direct to a company. So this would be if you went direct to the company that actually owns the airplane and book the flight directly through them to where they're using their own airplane. The second way is using a broker or a charter company that is not necessarily putting you on their airplane. So they need to go out and find an airplane and a crew to take you on that flight. So I'll break down throughout this video the difference between booking directly through a company that owns their airplanes and using a company that finds you an airplane or finds a suitable jet that is close by to you. But moving forward for now, let's start going in to how you pay for a corporate jet and how much it costs. Along with the two primary ways that you can book a flight, either directly through a charter company or using a broker or a bigger company, there's also two primary ways that you're going to pay for those flights. For going directly through a company, you're most likely going to be charged hourly for the entire time that the airplane flies. So if the airplane needs to reposition empty to come pick you up, and then you fly from point A to point B, and then the airplane repositions back to its home base, you pay for every single hour that the airplane was moving. If you're using a broker company or one of the companies that finds you an airplane and isn't necessarily using their own jet, you are going to only pay for the time that you're on the airplane. Now, you might be able to see this coming, but the situations that you are only paying for the time you're on the airplane are generally a little more than double the cost because they're building in the idea that you are most likely having the airplane repositioned to come pick you up. Now that you have a little bit of background on how exactly the pricing system is worked out, let's get into the actual numbers and share with you some data on how much a private jet costs to charter. Private jets are broken down into the size of the airplane, which relates to how many passengers you can carry and how far you can go. So the smallest jets you're going to find are the light jet markets, which are generally going to be about 4 to 6 passengers. And those are going to be going for about $2,000 to $3,500 an hour. If you are using a big broker company that is only charging you for the time that you're on the airplane, you're going to see the hourly rate be around $6,000 an hour. The next size category is the mid-size jet. Mid-size jets are going to carry more people, somewhere in the 8 to 10 passenger range. And the hourly cost on a mid-size jet is starting at about $3,500 an hour up to about $5,000 an hour. If you are using a broker company charging only for live legs, you're looking probably around $8,000 an hour. The next size category up is the SUPERMID. The SUPERMID airplane is going to be a solid coast-to-coast airplane. Most of them are configured between 8 and 12 passengers. They can easily go coast to coast. A lot of them can make it from the West Coast to Hawaii. They could make it from the very Northeast over to Europe. So they have some pretty good range. They're a great airplane, but they're definitely going to start costing more because they are getting into that bigger category. A SUPERMID jet is going to be starting at about $4,500 an hour, going up to about $6,000 an hour. And if you are only paying for the live legs with your broker company, you're going to be around the $9,000 an hour mark. The next category up from that is a large cabin aircraft. Large cabin aircraft are the big boys you think about, the Gulfstreams, the G450s, 550s, 650s, Global Expresses, big Falcon jets, the really big, nice airplanes. Well, I guess they're all nice, but you know what I mean. If you can have a Gulfstream, you get a Gulfstream. Large cabin airplanes are going to fit anywhere between 12 and 19 passengers. The ranging cost on a large jet is kind of hard to nail down because you can get such a wide variety, but on the low end, you can find them for about $5,000 an hour for a large cabin aircraft, but not necessarily the range of something bigger, all the way up to about $12,000 an hour for a brand new ultra long range airplane. Above the large cabin, we're going to get into executive airliners. So these are your Boeing business jets, your Airbus corporate jets, anything that's been converted that is those airplanes that you see on the ramp thinking, oh my goodness, who can afford to fly on that? These are going to be more than 20 passengers. They are configured to take a lot of people a very long way, and the prices on them can range widely. Anything down from about a 737, which is the BBJ, the Boeing business jet, of maybe about $20,000 an hour, all the way up to a Boeing 777, which can fly 15 or 16 hours and take, you and 50 of your closest friends for about $50,000 an hour. Now, if those numbers haven't scared you away, let me just inflate them a little bit more, because if you get a quote to fly one of these trips, it is not as simple as just knowing how long the trip's going to be, because there are going to be a few extra fees and taxes that are put on top of these already ridiculous prices that are only going to inflate the price. A few of the extra fees that you need to pay are fees that the operator is going to have to pay to operate the airplane. Almost every single airport you go into is going to have a landing fee. They're going to have facility fees for the FBOs you're using, the lab service. Some FBOs will also have a security fee. Also, if you're going into an airport that is snowy or has incremental weather being forecast, if the crew has to get a hangar for the airplane, and if you go into a snowy area and the airplane requires de-icing, which is about $20 per gallon, and airplanes can take upwards of a couple thousand gallons, you're also on the hook for those fees. Basically, any fee that the operator incurs operating your flight are going to be passed along to you. Now, what I think is most important on this list is you got to make sure you take care of me. So you're also going to have overnight fees for the crew if you're keeping the airplane overnight. An overnight fee is usually between about $800 and $1,500 per night, depending on if you're international or domestic and what each company charges. The overnight fee for the crew is supposed to just cover our lodging, our transportation, and our per diem. So once you get your invoice all put together, you're gonna scroll to the very bottom of it, and just like when you go shopping, you will have a final line item of a couple taxes. The federal excise tax is set federally, and it is 7.5%, so you can add 7.5% on to whatever your invoice is. Also, as with other transactions of anything you would be doing, a private jet flight is going to also be subject to sales tax and state taxes in the state that you're in. I'm going to run through a couple different examples using different types of airplanes and different types of pricing structures so you can kind of get an idea of how much a generic flight would cost. Because I'm in Las Vegas, we're going to start with a pretty easy one that is a very common flight for us, which is taking a light jet from Van Nuys, California, which is a very popular corporate airport just outside of Los Angeles, back to Vegas. On this model, we're gonna pretend that you booked this trip through my company. So if you wanna do that, free marketing to them. So the hourly rate is gonna be based on the airplane coming from Las Vegas flying to Van Nuys, and then back to Las Vegas with you on board. The airplane is based in Las Vegas, so you are going to be on the hook for it repositioning over to Van Nuys to pick you up and then bringing you back. Here's a couple breakdowns of how much a Citation M2, which is what our aircraft is going for. And you can find this website again in the description down below, and it's kind of fun to poke around and see what different people are charging for their airplanes. But for this example, we'll say a Citation M2 average price is going for about $2,300 an hour. To go from Vegas to LA, you're looking about an hour, and same on the return back. Simple math on this, which I intentionally gave to myself, $2,300 times 2 hours, you're looking $4,600 just for the flight time of the airplane. Throwing in some of the fees and taxes that we had before, we're gonna say you had a landing fee at Van Nuys Airport of $150. You get your nice 7.5% excise tax, and I misspoke on it earlier, it is actually higher than I thought it was. The good old Nevada sales tax of 8.38%. There's also a small segment fee, which is just a per passenger fee that gets thrown on flights of $4.30 per passenger. Where that came from, who knows? It's the good old government. They can throw on another fee if they want, so that's gonna be passed on to you. So $8.60 for you and your friend to come to Vegas, and that is going to bring us to a grand total of right around $5,480. Now, after you get to Vegas, you go to the casinos, you hit it big, get some good sports bets, play some blackjack, maybe some roulette, and you kill it here. So you have some money to burn, and you think, what better way than to charter a jet again? Now, this next example, we are going to take a SUPERMID airplane from Vegas over to Dallas. For this trip, you are going to use your jet card membership that you have through a broker company. So you're gonna be paying only for the time that you're on the airplane. You get a really nice SUPERMID airplane, a nice new Challenger 350, and that baby is gonna run you about $8,900 an hour because you're paying for only the time that you're on the jet. Using a rough estimation of about 2.5 hours for this flight at your $8,900 an hour, you're gonna be just over $22,000 for this flight. One of the pros to using a broker company that you're only paying for the live time that you're on the airplane is the billing is a lot more simplistic. The charges are a lot higher, as you can see, usually more than double the price of just the airplane alone. But the good thing is most of the time, the fees and taxes are built in. So if you're on the airplane only a couple hours, that couple hours gets taken out of your jet card membership and you're good to go. Now just for fun, let's play with some real big money. Let's say you invested your Vegas winnings and now you are really rolling in the dough. And we want to go over to Italy for a little vacation. Now, if you want to invite me as your pilot, I would greatly appreciate it. Or even better, if you just want to invite me to sit around in the back with you and we can hang out, and you know, that could be okay too. Anyway, we are going to go from TETERBORO, which is just outside of New York, the main New York City corporate airport, and we are going over to Rome. We're definitely not going to rough it on this flight, so we are going to be chartering a Gulfstream G650, of course, because we got to go for something really nice. Although we're going to be there for a week, it makes more sense for us because we are going to want to get back to TETERBORO to pay for the airplane hourly, and we're going to have the crew sit around and the airplane sit around for the week that we're in Rome, because the crew's got to go on vacation too. You got to look out for your pilots, I'm telling you. The trip from TETERBORO to Rome we'll estimate at 7 hours. At a cost of about $10,000 an hour for a G650, you're already at about $70,000 one way. Being international, the charter company is most likely going to charge some pretty high overnight fees for every night you're there, so we're going to put it on the high end of about $1,500 a night for 6 nights over there for the crew. We'll tack on some international fees. I estimated $5,000. You guys can let me know in the comments if you know more about this, if I'm way off on this. I have done some international flying in my career, but I really didn't see much of the billing, so I'm just gonna guess $5,000 on this. Just to increase the bill a little bit more, we'll put on that federal excise tax and some New Jersey state sales tax. So on this awesome round trip to Rome, dream vacation, just your airfare of your fancy G650 is gonna run you about $173,000. $173,000. Yeah, I could do a lot with that. There's definitely no getting around it. Flying private is ridiculously expensive. I really do want to get into why I think private aviation can be a really good thing, and for a lot of companies and people, the finances of it really do make sense. I hope in this video I've been able to be transparent enough with you with not trying to make a super long video and just go over the basics. There are some fun websites to poke around on and see prices of airplanes, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty basic formula. How long are you looking to fly, and what type of airplane are you looking to take? A lot of companies advertise free quotes, so if you want to, play around on there and see how much it would cost you to go to your next destination flying private. We'll see you next time.